Hello everyone, welcome to Abrehot tutorials. So today we are going to balance chemical equation mainly using algebraic method. So I just want to say that I use algebraic method because it's very simple, logical, and you don't need to memorize valency. So let us see briefly what a chemical equation is. So a chemical equation is simply a shorthand representation of reaction using chemical symbols and formulas. We start balancing a chemical equation. Let us see why we balance a chemical equation. Why do we balance a chemical equation? And this is because balancing a chemical equation satisfies of conservation of mass, which states that mass atoms are neither created nor destroyed. So the number of each atom on both sides of the reaction must be what? Must be equal. So there are three methods of balancing a chemical equation, but like I said, I'm going to use algebraic method. Let us try this together. Balance a chemical reaction that takes place between iron and water to form iron peroxide and hydrogen gas. So this is the unbalanced chemical equation. Now we are going to assign coefficients. So I'm going to assign coefficient A for iron, B for water, C for iron peroxide, and D for hydrogen. So these are going to be coefficients. So remember, why do we balance a chemical equation? We balance a chemical equation so that the law of conservation of mass is satisfied, right? For iron, how many iron atoms do I have on the right hand side? On the right hand side, here, I have 1, right? So 1 times A equals how many iron atoms do I have on the product side? I have 3. So 3 times C, 3C. And for hydrogen, how many hydrogen atoms do I have on the right hand side? I have 2, right? 2 times B equals how many hydrogen atoms do I have on the product? I have 2D. So these 2 cancels these 2. Therefore, B and D are equal. For oxygen, how many oxygen atoms do I have on the right hand side? I have 1. 1 times B is B equals, and how many oxygen atoms do I have on the product side? 4. 4 times C is 4. Now the next step is I'm going to choose the smallest whole number for one variable from the 4 variables that are here. So So I'm going to assign C equals 1. And I'm going to find the values of the other variables from this value. Okay, if C is 1, and then I'm going to find the values of the other variables from this value. Okay, so because the value of C is 1, now I can use this to find the value of A, and which is, if you substitute the value of 1 for C, you'll get A equals 3. C is 1, A is 3. And from this, I can find the value of B, because B is 4 times C, and the value of C is 1. 4 times 1, which is 4. And B and D are equal, therefore the value of D is also 4. Therefore, the balanced chemical equation will be 3 iron plus 4 H2O, and this is Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So this will be the balanced chemical equation. Let's do it together. Example 2. When aluminum reacts with oxygen, aluminum oxide is formed. Write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction. So the unbalanced chemical equation is this. So I'm going to assign. So the first step is assign coefficients. So I'm going to assign A for the coefficient of aluminum, B for oxygen, and C for aluminum oxide. So I'm going to relate these variables. So for aluminum, how many aluminum atoms do I have on the right hand side? 1, right? 1 times A is A. On the product side, how many aluminum atoms do I have? 2. 2 times C, 2C. For oxygen, so how many oxygen atoms do I have on the right hand side? 2. 2B equals, and how many oxygen atoms do I have on the product side? 3, right? 3C. Alright, now I am going to assign the smallest whole number for any of these variables. So I'm going to assign 1 for C. So if the value of C is 1, I can easily find, by taking this, I can find the value of A, because A equals 2C, and A is equal to 2 times 1, which is 2. Therefore, C is 1, A is 2, and now let's take this. 2B equals 3C, and the value of C is 1, therefore 3 times 1 is 3, which is 2B over 2 over 2. B equals 3 over 2. B equals 3 over. Now, because this is a fraction and we don't have a fraction of atoms, what do? We convert it into a whole number. To convert it into a whole number, we have to multiply each variable by the denominator, and which is 2. So I'm going to multiply each variable by 2. So this gives me 2, and this is 4, and multiplying this gives you 3. Therefore, what is the coefficient of aluminum? 4. 4 aluminum plus, what is the coefficient of oxygen? 3O2, and the coefficient of aluminum oxide, which is C, 2Al2O3. So this is the balanced chemical equation. Let us do this together. Example 3. The reaction of sodium sulfate with aluminum nitrate would form aluminum sulfate and sodium nitrate. Write the balanced chemical equation for the above reaction. Alright, so this is the unbalanced chemical equation. So I'm going to assign the coefficient of sodium sulfate A, and that of aluminum nitrate B, that of sodium nitrate C, and that of aluminum sulfate D. For sodium, how many sodium atoms do I have on the right hand side? 2. So 2A equals, and how many do I have here? 1. For sulfur, how many sulfur atoms do I have on the right hand side? 1. So it's A equals, and how many do I have? Now this 3 multiplies both these atoms. Therefore, I have 3 sulfur atoms, and that is 3D. And for aluminum, how many atoms of aluminum do I have on the right hand side? 1. 1 times B is B equals, and how many do I have on the right hand side? 2, 2D. And for nitrogen, so how many do I have here? I have 3, because this multiplies both oxygen and nitrogen. Therefore, I have 3 nitrogen atoms. 3B equals, and how many nitrogen atoms do I have on the right hand side? Just 1. So it's equal to C. And finally, for oxygen, how many do I have here? I have 4 here. Sorry, 4A. And I have 9 oxygen atoms, right? So remember, the number of atoms on both sides should be equal, right? So you have to add this. You have to add the number of oxygens, because the number of oxygen atoms on the reactant and on the product should be equal. Alright, and then similarly, how many oxygen atoms do I have on the product side? I have 3 here, which is 3C, plus, how many do I have here on this? 12D. Okay, now let us assign the smallest whole number for A. A equals 1. If A is 1, take this. C is equal to what? Twice of A. So that gives me 2. C is 2. Let's take this. 2B equals C. C is 2, right? So 2B equals 2 over 2 over 2. And this is equal to 1. So B is 1. So I'm going to take this. B equals 2D, right? And we have already obtained the value of B, which is 1. So if B is 1, what is the value of D? Over 2 over 2. D equals 1 over 2. So A equals 1, C equals 2, B equals 1, and D equals 1 over 2. Now because we have a fraction, to make this whole number, what do? We multiply the whole equation, or every variable, by the denominator. So multiply it by 2, multiply it by 2. 2, 4, this gives me 2, this gives me 1. Therefore, what is the coefficient of sodium sulfate? 2. Plus, what is the coefficient of aluminum nitrate, which is B? 2. And what is the coefficient of C, which is sodium nitrate? Plus coefficient of D, which is aluminum sulfate. This is 1. Now it is balanced. So to sum up, equations must be balanced to satisfy the law of conservation of mass, which states that atoms must be what? Must be conserved, meaning the number of atoms on the reactant side and product side should be equal. And there are different methods of balancing chemical equation. Now it's your turn. Balance these chemical equations and write your answers on the comment section.